Welcome to the Duo's Corner. Crimes, comics, and more. Today we're diving into Evil Season 1, Episode 1, a show that hooks you with its eerie storytelling and keeps you questioning everything. Is evil supernatural? Is it human? Or is it something far more sinister? Let's break it all down.
And we can't forget the wild cards in this episode. Leland Townsend, Ben Shakir, Kristen's therapist, and of course, David Acosta. Each of them brings something critical to the conversation about faith, science, and the nature of evil. So, Ruby, let's start with the big question.
This episode really sets the tone for the entire series. It throws out the big question, what is evil? Is it supernatural, like demons and possession? Or is it purely human, a flaw in our nature?
And this is where David's perspective shines. He approaches the idea of evil as a spiritual battle. While Kristen and Ben analyze it through psychology and science, David reminds us that there's a larger, unseen force at play, and that not everything can be explained logically.
Exactly. And then there's Leland Townsend, who embodies this question perfectly. Is he just a manipulative sociopath, or is he working for something bigger and darker? The ambiguity of his character adds so much to this debate.
And Ben, as always, is the grounding force, asking the logical questions. He keeps the team from jumping to conclusions, but he also challenges David's faith by constantly looking for evidence. That balance between belief and reason is what makes this show so compelling.
Okay, let's talk about the interrogation scene. Kristen is in full control, breaking LaRue down piece by piece, and then, bam! He starts speaking Latin and attacks her. That moment was insane.
Wilde doesn't even cover it. And David? He's the steady hand in all this chaos. While Kristen is trying to make sense of LaRue's behavior, and Ben is searching for clues, David is standing firm in his belief that this could be a possession. His calm resolve adds so much tension because he never wavers, even when things spiral out of control.
And then there's Leland, whose connection to LaRue adds another layer. Even though he's not in the room, you can feel his influence. He's like this shadowy puppet master, always lurking in the background. And Ben? He's there to keep the team focused, reminding them to stick to the facts even when the supernatural starts creeping in. George is hands down one of the creepiest characters in the show, but what makes him even scarier is how Leland's manipulations seem to pave the way for him. It's like George is a manifestation of all the cracks Leland creates in Kristen's psyche.
And this is where David's belief system comes into play. He approaches George not as a figment of Kristen's imagination, but as a potential spiritual threat. His faith gives him the strength to face the possibility that George might actually be real, which adds so much depth to this episode.
Right, and Ben is the skeptic who balances it all. He doesn't believe in George as a supernatural entity, but even he can't fully explain the psychological terror Kristen is experiencing. The interplay between these perspectives, faith, science, and skepticism, is what makes the show so fascinating. Kristen's family is her anchor, but it's also her greatest vulnerability. And Leland knows this. He's constantly exploiting her overprotectiveness, which makes her more susceptible to doubt and fear.
And David plays a subtle but important role here too. He understands the pressure Kristen is under as a single mom, and he respects her boundaries. But he also challenges her to think beyond her skepticism, especially when her family is at risk. His faith is what allows him to offer her a different perspective.
Then there's Ben, who brings that steadying presence to Kristen's life. He's the one who helps her navigate the chaos, even when her personal and professional worlds collide. And her therapist. Those sessions reveal so much about how Kristen is internalizing everything, adding even more layers to her character. So, what's the takeaway? For me, it's this. Evil doesn't ask you to pick a side. It shows you that evil can be supernatural, human, or both. Leland, Ben, David, and the therapist each represent different facets of that ambiguity.
David, in particular, is the bridge between these perspectives. His faith reminds us that not everything can be explained by science, but he also respects the importance of reason and evidence. He's the heart of the team, grounding them in something bigger than themselves.
In the end, the show leaves it up to you. Is evil something we can explain? Or is it something beyond our understanding? And that's what makes it so powerful. Well, that's our take on Evil Episode 1. Leland Townsend, George, Ben, the therapist, and David Acosta. They all bring something unique to this haunting puzzle that keeps you hooked.
And David, in particular, is such a grounding force. His faith, his calm demeanor, and his willingness to confront the unknown are what make him a vital part of the team and the show.
Let us know in the comments. What do you think about David's role in the team? And how does his perspective shape your understanding of evil? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives.
Until next time, stay curious, stay thoughtful, and as always, stay a little bit on edge. Bye.